Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Wooden Railway Adventures, Episode 152, Stepney and the Bluebell Branchline. Of all the branch lines on the island of Sodor, there is one that stands out above the rest. After Stepney was saved from scrap by Rusty, Sir Topham Hatt rewarded him with his own branch line for his hard work. Even though Stepney doesn't have a lot of trains, that doesn't bother him at all. His passengers are loyal, and they think he is the best engine on Sodor. Today was a little different, however. A goods train needed to be taken from Knapford Station to Tidmouth Station, where Stepney's branch line began, and his driver volunteered Stepney for the job since they were going right by the station on their way to work. It was very early in the morning, and Gordon hadn't even arrived to pull the express. Both Stepney and his driver were very tired. "Let's never do this again," said Stepney. "It's too early for me to be out." "Don't complain, Stepney," said his driver. "Once this job is done, we won't have to deal with it again." "All right," yawned Stepney. He was not very awake. The trucks realized this and planned to cause trouble for Stepney. "Stepney's so tired he's about to fall asleep," they said. "Let's play a trick on him while we can before he notices." The trucks agreed as Stepney pulled slowly out of the station. "It's too early to pull trains," mumbled Stepney to himself. He was having a hard time even keeping his eyes open. The train continued down a long viaduct that ended with a curve near the airfield. Just before Stepney could start applying his brakes, the trucks began pushing harder. "Go, go, go!" they yelled. "Faster, faster, faster!" "Look out, Stepney!" called his driver. "There's a curve ahead." But Stepney was completely out of control. He was swaying side to side down the narrow line. "Look out!" called Stepney, but it was too late. The trucks pushed him down the hill and off the line right onto the airfield runway. Tiger Moth was coming in for a landing, and he had to quickly fly up as fast as he could to avoid the mess. When the smoke cleared, Stepney's driver and fireman realized it was a very bad crash. While the trucks laughed and giggled at their silliness, Stepney lay dazed and surprised. "Oh dear," said the fireman. "He looks like a tin can that somebody stepped on." "I'll go call for help," said the driver, and he did. Soon enough, Harvey arrived with Rocky, and the two set to work to clean up the mess. Sir Topham Hatt was on board, and he surveyed the damage. "Stepney's going to have to go to the works for a very long time, sir, isn't he?" asked Rocky. "Yes," said Sir Topham Hatt. "I'm afraid so." Stepney was soon on a freight car, and Paxton arrived to take him away. "Sir," asked Stepney, "will they be able to repair me at the works? I'm a very old engine, and I'm not sure if they have the correct parts for me." "Don't worry, Stepney," said Sir Topham Hatt. "I will make sure that you look good as new once they're all done." But even as Paxton pulled Stepney away, Sir Topham Hatt wasn't completely sure. "I do hope they will be able to fix Stepney," he said to himself. And Sir Topham Hatt was right. Stepney was gone at the works for several months, but when he came back, he looked fantastic. A little different, perhaps, but he was still the same useful engine as he always was. The engines were surprised when they saw him. "Wow," said Murdoch. "Stepney, you look fabulous. And, a little different." "Yeah," said Bill. "It looks like you lost some weight." "Don't say such things," said Arthur. "And don't listen to Bill, Stepney. He doesn't know what he's talking about." Stepney laughed. "Don't worry," he said. "I know I look a little bit different, but that's because they didn't have all of the right parts for me at the works since I'm so old. But I think I look like a correct Bluebell engine for once. Don't you think?" "Yes, indeed," said Toby. "They did an excellent job at the works." "And yes, Bill," said Stepney, "I did lose some weight." All of the engines chuckled. They were happy to have Stepney back on Sodor. "Well, if you don't mind," said Stepney, "I'm going to go have a run on my Bluebell branch line. I haven't been there in forever." The engines looked nervously at each other. They didn't want to tell Stepney what had happened. "What's going on?" said Stepney. "Something's not right. Out with it." The engines still didn't say anything. "Fine," said Stepney. "If you won't tell me what's going on, I'll go see for myself." And Stepney puffed away very quickly. The engines looked around at each other. "Stepney is not going to like what he finds," said Arthur quietly. When Stepney arrived at Tidmouth Station, he was shocked. It was completely deserted. "What's going on?" asked Stepney. "Where are all of the passengers?" Just then, Diesel rolled up, pulling a very dirty freight train. He was grumpy and cross. "Move out of the way," he said in an oily voice, "or I'll shove you off the line." "How rude," muttered Stepney. "I'm gone for a few months and they've replaced all of the nice engines with dirty diesels, it appears." "Excuse you," said Diesel, "but I've been on this railway longer than you have." "Ah," said Stepney, "so you must be Diesel. We've never officially met before, but I've heard a lot of bad things about you. At least you're out of the shed actually doing some work for a change." At least you've finally decided to come back to your branch line, retorted Diesel. I'm tired of doing your work. Now that you're back, you can take this train. Goodbye. Wait, called Stepney. Where are all of the passengers? I'm supposed to take a train here very soon. Oh, said Diesel, grinning evilly. That's right. You've been gone. Well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but Sir Topham Hatt shut down your branch line while you were gone. You don't have any passengers, Stepney. So sorry. Well, actually, not really. Have fun pulling this train. And Diesel rolled away. Stepney was very sad. My passengers are gone? Oh, this is terrible. Sir Topham Hatt wouldn't have done this on purpose. I must go find him at once. And Stepney rushed away. He looked all over the island of Sodor trying to find Sir Topham Hatt, but he couldn't. At last he stopped at Elsbridge Station where Rosie was taking on passengers with the old slow coach. Stepney, said Rosie excitedly, you're back, and you look different and tired. Is everything all right? No, said Stepney. I just came back from the works, and apparently my Bluebell branch line doesn't exist anymore. There aren't any passengers at the station. That's a big problem, said Rosie. Well, I wish I could help. Maybe you can, said Stepney. I'm looking for Sir Topham Hatt. Have you seen him? Come to think of it, said Rosie, he was here a few minutes ago, but then he had to leave because there was a big crash at Tidmouth Station, I think. Oh my, said Stepney. That's so strange. I just came from Tidmouth Station, and there wasn't a crash there when I left. You must have just missed it then, said Rosie. Just then, Stepney realized something. Oh no, he said. I left Diesel's train on the main line at Tidmouth Station. Somebody must have hit it. And before Rosie could say anything, Stepney was gone. He arrived at Tidmouth Station a few minutes later. Hank had come down the hill and had hit the back of Diesel's train. Everybody seemed to be okay, however. Hank, said Stepney, I'm so sorry for leaving this here. Is everybody okay? Everybody's fine, said Hank cheerfully. My cowcatcher did its job and just scooted the cars right off the line. Stepney, said Sir Topham Hatt, did you cause this crash? I didn't mean to, sir, said Stepney. Diesel arrived and left this train here and said I had to take it. Sir Topham Hatt sighed. Oh, Diesel, he said, always causing trouble. Well, I shall have a word with him about this. In the meantime, can you help with the clean-up, please? Sir, said Stepney, is it true that the Bluebell branch line is no more? Diesel said you gave all of my passengers away. Nonsense, said Sir Topham Hatt. Don't believe a word Diesel says. I had to give your passengers to the other engines while you were away because nobody was running the Bluebell branch line, of course. Don't worry, Stepney. I will see where your passengers went and send them back to you at once. Sir, said Hank, if I may, but I believe I am carrying Stepney's passengers right now. Well, said Sir Topham Hatt, let's take a look and see. And Hank was right. The passengers got out and saw Stepney. They immediately ran over to him and made a circle around him. They were very happy to see him. Stepney, they said, you're back. You look so different, but so much better. We're so glad to see you. Thank you, said Stepney. I'm back and ready to pull trains again. Hank is great at pulling coaches, they said, but we prefer you, Stepney. Will you pull our train again? Absolutely, said Stepney. Come by the station tomorrow morning, and it will be just like old times. And, as Stepney promised, the passengers were at the station the next morning, ready to go with Stepney. Stepney was very happy to have his passengers back. The Bluebell branch line lives on, shouted Stepney as he pulled out of the station happily.